We live. All right, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, Shalom, Fisherman for Zion. Back again through the Spirit with another live stream. It's the Sabbath service. First off, we give all praises and glory and honor to the Most High God, whose name is Yahweh, right? Who the world called God, and we do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, right? We give all praises to the Most High for allowing us to be able to bring to you the word of truth, to be able to issue out praises to His saints, right, across the four corners of the earth. Shalom to all of the 12 tribes of Israel scattered abroad, right? Greetings. We give double honors to the elders that's been pushing this word from the foundation of the world, right? Shalom to the mighty men that go out and sacrifice their life to teach the word in these last days, right? The bishops, the apostles, the evangelists, all of the mighty men. Another shalom to all of the men that's not pushing the word, but, you know, they getting built up in the spirit.
Households in order.
Yep, getting their households in order. Shalom to the Akwath, the sisters that are repenting and coming back to the Most High, being daughters of Sarah, and all of the children, right? Shalom, Shalom, Fisherman for Zion. So today we're going to go through a lesson of about what the world calls Easter, or what the world calls Passion Week, or what the world calls Good Friday, right? So we're going to go through the Spirit and pull some precepts to give you, Lord willing, to give you a clearer understanding on why the world calls these holidays that, you know, does the Lord want you to celebrate these holidays? How do they come about, right? And what the Lord actually wants you to do in these last days, right? So real quick, let's get the book of Acts, right? Book of Acts chapter 18 and verse 4.
Yeah. Well, the book of Acts.
Not Acts 18 and 4.
Oh, okay.
The book of Acts, chapter 18, verse 4.
Right?
And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath,
right,
and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks.
Right. So we're reasoning in a synagogue on a Sabbath day, persuading the Jews and the Greeks, right? The Jews being the Israelites that know that they're Israelites, right? To give them faith to keep going and keep enduring in these last days, to keep loving the Lord, how you supposed to, keeping the commandments. And we're persuading the Greeks, right? The Israelites that are foreigners, or the Israelites that may not know that they're Israelites, right? You may be in Thessalonica, right? You may be in the city in Galatia, right? You may be in Asia Minor, right? But guess what? The Lord came for you as well, although you're not living in the land of Judea. You may call yourself a Negro man. You may call yourself an African American, or you may call yourself a Jamaican. You may call yourself a Hispanic, right? But guess what? You're an Israelite. So it's our job to persuade you, right, to come back to the Lord, to know who you are, and to know the things that you're supposed to do in these last days, right? So can you read that again one more time?
The book of Acts, chapter 18, verse 4.
Right.
And he reasoned in the synagogue every Sabbath and persuaded the Jews and the Greeks.
Right. So that's our job, right? Our job, you may say, well, what are they doing? And, you know, they always go, hey, our job is to persuade you, right? Because you've been lied to. And we can only do it through the Spirit and power of the Most High. So let's get Philippians chapter 4 and verse 13 real quick. Right, the book of Philippians chapter 4 and verse 13.
The book of Philippians chapter 4 and verse 13. I can do all things through Christ, which strengtheneth me.
Right, so the Lord told us, He said, if you love me, keep my commandments. Right, the Lord never done away with the commandments. Right, the Lord never told you to celebrate Easter and to go bunny egg hunting. Right, the Lord never told you anything about a Good Friday. Right, where did these things come from? Where did they derive from? Did the Lord tell you to do that? Did any of the disciples tell you to do that? Did any of the righteous men in the scriptures tell you to follow after the rudiments of men? Right, real quick, let's get Colossians chapter 2 and verse 8. Right, because this is the thing that happened to our people. You know, our people have been bamboozled. You know, our people have been lied to. You got to remember, we was in slavery, right? Not only in America, but in the ancient world also, right? Hey, the Lord, when the Lord walked the scene, guess what? He was in captivity, right? The Romans had him and his people in slavery. They were in authority and rulership over the Israelites, right? So there were things that the people that were in authority, there were things that they taught them. There were things that they persuaded them to do, right? So you have to go through the precepts and go through the history and find out why these things are. And you have to find out what you're supposed to do in these last days. Right? So whoever got that, bring that up.
Colossians chapter 2, verse 8.
8, Con.
The book of Colossians chapter 2, verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
Right? Read.
After the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ.
And what?
And not after Christ.
So you don't want to follow what man tell you to follow, right? You know, if some man come up to you and say, well, you know, you should probably jump off that bridge, right? And are you just going to listen to that man and do it? No, right? Don't follow anything that man tell you to do, right? Hey, do what the Lord tell you to do in these last days. Who are the people that's force feeding you knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, right? It's the people that are in rulership over you, right? Bring it out, Ken.
Acts chapter 5, verse 29.
Con.
Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men.
Right? We ought to obey the Most High God rather than men. You ought to go through the precepts and find out what the Lord told you to do, rather than what your church or your theology teacher told you to do, right? Rather than all of the things that they passed down to you, right? You still in the same condition that you went when you got over here on the slave ships, man. So there has to be some reasoning behind that. There has to be something that you haven't figured out while you were over here yet, right? Real quick, let's get Psalms chapter 140 and verse 1.
Book of Psalms.
Right, Psalms chapter 140 and verse 1.
Book of Psalms chapter 140 and verse 1. Deliver me, O Lord, from the evil man.
Right?
Preserve me from the violent man.
Read.
Which imagine mischiefs in their heart.
Which of what?
Which imagine mischiefs in their heart.
Now, this is a righteous man, a perfect man speaking, right? King David, right? He's telling the Most High to deliver him and his people from the evil man, right? That evil man is that man that's in rulership. That evil man is the man that prints out your money, right? That evil man is the same man and nation of people that killed the Lord, right? And this is the time of the Passover, not Easter, not what the world calls Easter and the tradition that comes with Easter, right? So we're going to find out, you know, Easter, why it's even in the Bible, you know, so on and so forth, right? But real quick, finish that scripture.
Continually are they gathered together for war.
Right?
They have sharpened their tongues like a serpent.
Read.
And Sanders' poison is under his lips.
It's under his lips, man, because they'll teach you anything. They'll tell you anything. And they say, well, you know, if it ain't this, you know, listen, you don't really follow sweet Jesus, right? You don't know sweet Jesus unless you're going Easter egg hunting, right? When bunnies don't even lay eggs. Right, or telling you have to worship Good Friday, right? All of that is off, man. All of that doesn't add up to the precepts, right? And today we're gonna prove that, and we pray that somebody's edified, right? So let's just get to the point, right? Real quick, let's go to John chapter 7 and verse 38. Right, John chapter 7 and verse 38.
John chapter 7. At verse 38, he that believeth on me, as the scripture has said.
Right now, this is Yahweh Shah speaking. This is who the world calls Jesus, right? He said, hey, he that believeth on me, right? Read.
As the scripture has said,
right?
Out of his belly shall flow rivers of living water.
Right. The rivers of living water is knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. If you believe on the Lord, how it's written in the Bible, then you're going to have knowledge. You're going to flow in wisdom. You're not going to be easily persuaded by anybody, right? You're not just going to be just winging it and just following anything and following your theology teacher or your Christian church that has been doing traditions, man. Traditions of men, traditions of bloody men. So you need to come back to the Most High, right? Bring it up. You looking for a pen?
Yeah. Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 15. And I will give you pastors according to mine heart,
right,
which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding.
Right. So if the Lord said that he's going to give you pastors according to his heart, that would have to mean that there's people out here that are pastors not according to his heart. Right. So you got to watch who you learn it from. Watch, what you've been indoctrinated with. Right. You got to watch these things, man. Did not the Lord say, watch and pray? Right. Can you get that for me real quick? In the book of St. Mark.
Book of Mark, chapter 13, verse 33. Take ye heed, watch, and pray,
Right.
for ye know not when the time is.
Right. Because guess what, man? The Lord is coming back soon, man. Right. And a lot of people have been saying that, well, my great grandma been saying that. Guess what? Right. You're closer than ever, man. Right. So now is the time to find your true heritage, find what the Lord really wants you to do. Right. And break down these strongholds, man. That's what we out here to do, man, to break down the strongholds of our people. Right. Easter is off. Right. You got a lot of our people, they going, today, they going to the mall, right, picking out a pink suit, right, getting them a bow tie, right,
Lime green.
Yeah, lime green, getting their pants all creased up, and they buying starch, right, and they're gonna want to be the flyest in the so-called church tomorrow, man, right? They're gonna be the flyest there, and they're gonna say, well, hey, man, I outdid you this Easter, man. What's going on, man? Right, look at my gators. Right, hey, that's off, man. That's off, man. This is not Sunday's best, man. Right, we're not doing that no more, man. Right, you got precept, So let's get into it, man. Real quick, let's go to Sirach chapter 33. Right, Sirach 33:7, and then we're gonna get into it. Right,
Sirach.
all preliminary precepts to build up a spirit. Right, Sirach chapter 33 and verse 7.
Sirach 33:7.
Right.
Why doeth one day excel another?
Read on.
When as the light of every day in the year is of the sun.
Right, read.
By the knowledge of the Lord they were distinguished.
Right.
And he altered seasons and feasts.
The Lord altered seasons and feasts. Right. The Lord has days, right, that are high holy days, man. Right. These are the days that was given to you for your knowledge and your wisdom and your understanding in the sight of the nations. You can check that out in Deuteronomy, the 4th chapter, verse 5 on down, right? Chiefly verse 4 on down, right? So the Lord gave you days for you to keep, right? There's no new days. You didn't come to America to, kind of make up some new high holy days and, we're going to do Good Friday. That's not in the Bible, man. It's literally not in the Bible, right? So as you're preparing for your Easter Sunday, during your Easter dinner, guess what? Right? You need to hearken to the words of the Lord that the Most High is about to bring out through the Spirit, man. Right? So let's just get to the point. Let's go to Acts chapter 12. Right? Let's go to Acts chapter 12 and let's get one of the strongholds on our people. We're going to read verse 4.
This is the book of Acts chapter 12 and verse 4. And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions,
right,
of soldiers to keep him.
Read on.
Intending after Easter.
After what?
After Easter.
Read.
To bring him forth to the people.
See that? So, hey, Easter, it's in the Bible. Close the book. Hey, let's sing a praise and worship song. Right? What else? The deacon.
Put all the eggs out.
Yeah, put all the eggs out. Right? Take the children outside. They're gonna go Easter egg hunting.
Have money egg.
Yeah, have a money egg in it, a grand prize. Right? Get some red hot dogs in the back.
Chili.
Right? Chili. Right? Lay's chips with some Kool-Aid. Right? And guess what else? We're gonna play the tambourine and sing a song, man. Yeah. Right? Because it's in there. Right? But you got to get the proper understanding, man. Right? The Lord said, through thy precepts, I get understanding. Therefore, I hate every false way. So you got to get the proper understanding. Real quick, let's get the book of Proverbs, chapter 4, and verse 7, I think. Let's get Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 7.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 7.
Right? Bring it out, King.
And it reads, wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom.
Read.
And with all thy getting, get understanding.
So when we go to Acts chapter 12 and verse 4, and it says Easter, you got to get the proper understanding why that word is even translated in the scriptures. Why is it there? right? What does it even mean? So real quick, let's start at verse 1, right? Acts chapter 12 and verse 1.
Acts chapter 12 and verse 1.
Right, chime in at any time.
Now
Right.
about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands.
Now, Herod is a so-called white man, right? How do we know that? Herod is an Edomite, right? He goes back to Idumea, right? When you check his lineage, right? Now, Herod, he tried to adopt the customs of the Israelites, meaning what? He tried to start keeping the commandments, right? He tried to start keeping the Sabbath day, right? I'm led to believe he tried to have some fringes on. He tried to grow his beard out, right? But guess what? He was an enemy of the Lord because he's from the seed of Satan, because he's from Esau, the Edomites, the Idumeans, right? So read that again.
Now about that time, Herod the king stretched forth his hands to vex certain of the church, and he killed James, the brother of John.
Now the church is talking about so-called black people, right? He's talking about the Israelites. Real quick, get that in Acts chapter 7 and verse 35. Right?
Book of
Let's
Acts.
see who the church is, because Herod just said that, listen, he's vexing the church and he's trying to put him to death, right? So who is that? Is it just anybody that believe, right? What does this word church mean, right? So we're going to go through the precepts to see what the church means, right? Bring it out, King.
Book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 35.
Right?
And
It's like it started at verse 38.
starting at verse 38, and it reads, he brought them out after that he had showed.
That's Acts 7. Acts chapter 7.
Oh, sorry.
verse
Sorry
38.
about that. He says 7:38.
Con.
Oh, this is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angel which spake to him in the Mount Sinai,
Right?
and with our fathers who received the lively oracles to give unto us.
So the same church that's in Acts chapter 7, right, in verse 38, is the same church that was in the book of Numbers, Exodus, Leviticus, right? Also, which is in the same church in Revelation when you have the 7 churches. Also, which is in the church in Corinth, right? These are the people that said, listen, our fathers was in Mount Sinai when he gave the oracles of God. And the angels came down to give the commandments through the great man Moses, one of the most meekest men to ever walk the earth, or the most meekest man to walk the earth. The church is talking about that seed line that's through Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Right? Can you read that one more time, Brother Shaw?
Acts chapter 7, verse 38. This is he that was in the church in the wilderness with the angel which spake to him in Mount Sinai, and with our fathers who received the lively oracles to give unto us.
Right. So the word church doesn't mean what you have over here today in this Americanized, westernized mindset, right? When you say a church, a lot of people think, well, is it Ebenezer Baptist? Is it Mount Pleasant Missionary Baptist Church and AME Zion? Well, what church is it? Right? No, church is talking about a people, right? When you say, I'm about to go see the church, I'm about to go see the Israelites.
That's right.
Which congregation are you going? Are you going to HOI? Are you going to WFI, the Watchmen for Israel? Are you going to the Brothers in Sakari? Hey, are you going to the Fishermen for Zion? Which church are you going to? Right? It's talking about a people. Right? Bring it out, King.
This is Hebrews chapter 2, verse 12, saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren in the midst of the church.
In the what?
In the midst of the church.
Who's the brethren? Right? He said, I would declare unto my brethren in the midst of the church. How do you know it's a people? You have to find out and know who the brethren are, right? Hold that what you got. Go to Romans chapter 9, right? Romans chapter 9 and verse 2.
Chapter 9 and verse 2. That I have great heaviness and continual sorrow in my heart, for I could wish that myself were accursed from Christ.
Right? This is Paul speaking. Right?
For my brethren.
The brethren, he said, I wish I could have gone through the same thing that Hamashiach went through, but for my brethren, right? Read.
My kinsmen,
His brethren is his kinsmen, according to what?
according to the flesh.
The flesh is talking about that seed line, right? His brethren that have the same flesh as him. Who are what?
Who are Israelites.
See that? Who are the descendants of a man named Israel. So that's the brethren, right? Read that again, King.
This is Hebrews chapter 2, verse 12, saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the church will I sing praises unto thee.
Right? See that?
And just to back it up, where he was quoting from, this is Psalm 22 and 22. I will declare thy name unto my brethren. In the midst of the congregation will I praise thee. So church and congregation is synonymous with one another, and brother.
That's right. And the word congregation goes to the word camp or army, right? These are all words that are synopsis for the same thing, right? A camp, an army, a church, a congregation, right? It's the same thing. It's a people, right? So you got to get the proper understanding. So go back to that in the book of Acts.
Book of Acts chapter 12.
Where's your verse 2?
Con.
Read it again.
In verse 2. And he killed James, the brother of John, with a sword.
Right?
And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also.
Right? So you got this so-called white man that's killing black men. Right? He's putting them to death because they was out there teaching the word of the Lord, man. They was out there waking up the Israelites, going to these different cities, gathering the saints, gathering the church. So this so-called white man named Herod said, man, we got to do something about this, man. Let's put him to death, man. And this thing has been an ongoing process throughout different chronology and different time in history, right? Whenever you seen so-called black leaders rising up, guess what? Your enemy had to put him to death, right? Like Malcolm X, when he really didn't, he wasn't really in the scriptures like that until his latter end, right? He knew who the Israelites were in his latter end. You got Martin Luther King, and they loved the Martin Luther King, man, until what? Until he started proclaiming who the Israelites were, right? So once you start talking about the truth, right, in the scriptures, guess what? You're deemed to get put to death by your enemy because they are enemies of God and they hate God.
Yes.
Right? So if you are teaching the scriptures according to truth, did not the Lord say you're going to be hated by all men for my name's sake?
That's right.
So if you claim to be teaching the truth and nobody's threatening to put you to death, guess what? Right? You're not teaching the truth, man. Right? Real quick, get that in the book of Mark real quick. When the Lord said, you shall be hated. Mark chapter 10. Call me Salakia. Let me find it real quick. Mark chapter 13. And go to verse 13.
Mark chapter 13 and verse 13. And ye shall be hated.
Salakia. Start at verse 10.
Verse 10. And the gospel must first be published among all nations.
Right now, the gospel is that the Lord is gonna raise up the poor. Right, he's gonna switch the roles. Right, you read about the gospel where Christ Hamashiach quoted the gospel in Luke chapter 4, verse 16 on down. Right, and he was quoting the mighty prophet Isaiah chapter 61. Right, from verse 1 all the way down. That's the gospel. Right, that the Israelites will not only receive salvation, but they will take the kingdom. Right? And then their enemies are going to be subdued and trampled under their feet. So the Lord said, this gospel, the truth, shall be published unto all nations. Right? You have the time of the apostles when they were out there teaching, and guess what? They got put to death. So you living in that same time period. This is the same generation. Right? This is that same generation that has to preach the gospel all over again, going to all nations. Right? Real quick, let me get that in the book of Luke. Right? Where the Lord said, this is that last generation, right? Luke chapter 21, Salakia. Go to Luke chapter 24. Is that what I want? I want Luke chapter 20. Salakia, let me find it. All right, bear with me. Salakia, go to Luke chapter 21 and go to verse 30. Salakia, go to verse 31, right? Luke 21 and 31. right? Because you living in the last generation, right? These are the last generating spirits that you're gonna see over in America, where the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American is gonna be enslaved, right? You're not gonna be here for another 500 years where you're begging and marching in the streets for money, right? Marching in the streets because you've been slain all on the internet, right? People recording it on their cell phones where your brother is just getting slain in the streets and nobody cares, right? Hey, these days are coming to an end, man, right? So this is the last generation. This is the last generating spirits that you ever gonna see a so-called black man in slavery again.
Right.
Right? Bring it out, King.
This is Luke chapter 21, verse 30. And when they now shoot forth, ye see and know of your own selves that summer is now nigh at hand.
The Lord said summer is now nigh at hand. Read on.
So likewise, when ye see these things come to pass, know ye that the kingdom of God is nigh at hand.
When you see rumors of war, when you see Russia and Ukraine over there getting ready for World War III, right? Rallying up, right? Getting that spirit of war going on, man, showing off their missiles and who got the baddest missiles, who got the biggest ICBM missiles. When you see these things come to pass, when you see food shortages happening before your eyes, coin shortages, right? When you see all manner of diseases like coronavirus and doggone AIDS epidemic and crack epidemic and pills epidemic, right? When you seeing all of these things come to pass, what did the Lord say?
Verse 32, verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass away till all be fulfilled.
Right? Until all be fulfilled, because that generation that he's speaking about is the same generation right now.
Yeah.
Right? So go back to Mark chapter 13 and verse 13.
Mark chapter 13, verse 13. And ye shall be hated of all men.
Salakia, who's that verse 10? Salakia.
Verse 10. And the gospel must first be published among all nations.
Right?
But when they shall lead you and deliver you up.
Now, this is coming back to the earth, right? You may have said, well, James got put to death for the word, and all of these men, they got put to death for the word. Hey, is Bishop T.D. Jakes gonna get put to death for teaching the Bible? No, man. Everybody loves T.D. Jakes, right? They got them all on PBS and what's those Christian shows? CBS and
TBN.
Yeah, TBN, right? Juanita Bynum, right? Who else, man? Who are these other so-called preachers?
BET.
All these other false prophets, man. Listen, everybody love them.
Right.
Why? Because they're not teaching the truth. They're not teaching you that you were the Israelites and that the Lord is coming back to subdue these nations and you're going to have them in slavery. Right? That's the gospel, man. Yeah. Check that out in Isaiah, the 61st chapter. Check that out in Luke, the 4th chapter. Hey, check that out in Revelation 13 and 9, man. Hey, check that out in Jeremiah 30 and the 16th verse, man. Right? So read that again, King.
Verse Mark 13 and 11. But when they shall lead you and deliver you up, take no thought beforehand what ye shall speak.
Right?
Neither do ye premeditate. But whatsoever shall be given you in that hour, that speak ye.
Right? Because you're going to have men that are going to be martyrs for the Lord. These men have been going out and being evangelists and prophets. They go out all on the streets as the Lord commanded them in Matthew, the 22nd chapter, the 9th verse, to go into the highways and the hedges and bid the people to the marriage. Right? Tell them to stop being Negro men. Hey, stop whoring out your sisters. Right? Hey, love your nation. Hey, stop eating shrimp, pork, crab, and lobster. Right? Hey, put some fringes on. Right? Hey, grow out your beard, brother. Hey, leave the Sunday church, man. Right? Where they telling you to worship and talking about some Easter, man. Right? It's not in the Bible. Right? Jump to verse 13.
Verse 13. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake.
That's the point, man. You're going to be hated by all people because everybody has been rocked to sleep in this westernized society. Right? Nobody's thinking about the prophecies. Nobody's looking at Russia and Ukraine. Right? Nobody's looking at these other nations, how the Lord is plaguing the world right now. Right? You got people, they flood it all out. You got tornadoes all over the place. Hey, you got earthquakes on a daily, man. They don't talk about the earthquakes, right? Why? Because they've been spoon feeding you, man. Give you all manner of sports, give you all manner of Instagram, TikTok, right? This madness, right? So the people of the Lord need to wake up, or guess what? You're not gonna make it, man. Right? So let's go back.
I had something.
Oh, Con, bring it out,
On
King.
Easter, if you want to touch up on that.
Con.
It says this is out of the Blue Letter Bible, right? And this is it gives you the history on Easter. I'm gonna read the last bit. It says the name of Venus and also of good fortune was suitable enough for her and thus chosen by the king, talking about Queen Esther. So Easter is synonymous with Venus. So you know how like in the scripture where it says the Most High say don't worship the host of heaven? That's what that goes into, right? Good fortune. Venus.
Salaki, let's see if we can pull it up on a screen share real quick.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can pull that up on a screen share. Bear with us. Right? First time using the screen share, so let's see. All right. Share screen.
Right.
All right. So we're gonna go to it. The Blue Letter Bible. Right. You got the precept. You can pull it real quick.
This is Jeremiah chapter 10. We're gonna start at verse 1. It says, "Hear ye the word which the Lord speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. Thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them." Right. So the Most High told us not to learn the ways of the heathen. The ways of the heathen now in modern society is all manner of holidays, Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving. None of that is found in the scriptures. But what the Lord told us to keep are the holy days, the feast days. We just came out of the feast of the Lord, which is the Passover, the feast of unleavened bread, which we were supposed to keep for 7 days. You're not supposed to eat leaven for 7 days. That's the feast and the celebrations that the Most High God told us to keep. But we're going contrary to that, learning the ways of these heathen, right? The Lord didn't tell us to keep, Palm Sunday, a Passion Week. None of that, man. The Lord said, keep these are even my feasts in which you shall keep from generation to generation. In the book of Leviticus, the 23rd chapter, man.
That's right. So let's read verse 4 real quick, and then we're gonna tackle that. Right. Or go read all the way down to verse 4 from where you was at. Right. And then we're gonna show you right where this word come from. Right. Acts chapter 12. You was at verse 3, I think. Yeah, read the verse 4.
The book of Acts chapter 12 and verse 3. And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread.
The days of what?
The days of unleavened bread.
So this is during the time of the days of unleavened bread, which is the Passover. The Passover and the Feast of Unleavened Bread, they fall and they start on the same day. So it's telling you what season that it's in. These are the days of unleavened bread. Right, read on.
And when he had apprehended him, he put him in prison and delivered him to 4 quaternions of soldiers to keep him.
Right.
Intending after Easter to bring him forth to the people.
So this is the days of unleavened bread, and it just said after Easter. Now, the brother just pulled us some artifacts of Easter, and I'm gonna just flip this camera around if I know how to do it. I ain't too technical. Okay, Con. All right, so you can bring it out, King.
Con, this is and if somebody could get Esther, Esther 2 and 7, but this is Esther, Persic pronoun given to Jewish virgin previously called Hadassah, which is hence the book of Esther, and it says Esther 2, and if y'all looking at the screen, who was made by Xerxes, his wife and queen of Persia. This is during the Persian Empire. The etymology is rightly given in the second Targum, and it quotes Esther 2, chapter 2, verse 7. It is the Persian star, or synonymous with the English word star. Also, it means fortune, felicity. You can look that up. Zinder, Stara, Sanskrit, which is another language, star, and this went in the Western languages, which gives me a Greek word, a star. English star. It says this word is used by the Syrians to denote the planet Venus. So somebody give me, read that. Just
Esther 2 and 7.
Yeah, read that.
The book of Esther, chapter 2, verse 7.
Right.
And he brought up Hadassah.
Right. That's keep going.
That is Esther.
Right. So her name was changed to Esther. Like she wanted to remember we're in captivity. So when we like just in America, you get slave names of the the people in their guys, and they put their philosophy on you, not only doctrine but their name. Her name changed from the Heathen name Hadassah to Esther, which is the god they worship. Keep going.
His uncle's daughter,
Right.
for she had neither father nor mother,
Right.
and the maid was fair and beautiful.
Okay. So and then this is my last precept, Deuteronomy 4:19. Remember, Venus okay. Esther or star, just different ways of saying it. It denotes or is pointing or it's synonymous with the Venus planet. So what did the Most High say about worshiping planets? Keep going. Deuteronomy 4:19.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verse 19.
Right.
And lest thou lift up thine eyes unto heaven,
Right.
and when thou seest the sun,
Right.
and the moon, and the stars,
Keep going.
even all the host of heaven,
Which encapsulates the planets. Keep going.
shouldest be driven to worship them and serve them,
Right.
which the Lord thy God hath divided unto all nations under the whole heaven.
Verse 20.
Verse 20. But the Lord hath taken you
You Israelite. Keep going.
and brought you forth out of the iron furnace,
Right. Which Egypt. Keep going.
even out of
Keep
Egypt,
going.
to be unto a people of inheritance as ye are this day.
So the Most High, in conclusion, is basically saying, don't worship that day because it's synonymous with Venus worship, planet worship, and we're supposed to be worshiping the Most High. Right?
Con. Got a point? Con. And that's breaking the first commandment, man. The Lord said, have no other gods before me. Right? Can you get that real quick? Right? In the book of Exodus.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 16. Salakia, verse 1.
Con. Start at verse 3.
Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
Right? Now, that's breaking the first commandment. Right? You celebrating Easter, you don't even know the etymology of the word. Right? It comes like the brother just brought out. It's all of these fertility gods. Ishtar. Right? Real quick, let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 7. Right? In verse 3. And I'm going to try to pull this up too on the StreamYard.
And it goes with fertility. Remember, you read in the Bible where it says, blessed is he. Our women being barren was like a curse, right?
Right.
So when they would be blessed is the womb. So being able to be like, it goes hand in hand with fertility because back then fertility was looked at as good fortune. So that's why that's we read that definition. It was so close together with the good fortune and fertility and all that because back then they were synonymous with each other.
So let's go to 1 Samuel chapter 7 and start at verse 2, Baba Kashar. Right, and I'm gonna try to share my screen real quick.
It's the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 7 and verse 2.
Right, so like you start at verse 3.
Verse 3. And Samuel spake unto all the house of Israel,
Right,
saying, if ye do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods.
the what?
The strange gods.
So we were supposed to put away the strange god. Now Easter, this God that the brother just brought out about the different elements of the earth and strange gods. This is not a new thing in the earth. This is a thing of old, right? Now the Romans, they what they did was they went back to the ancient world and just put a new name on it. That's all they did, but it's the same meaning. It's the same false god or deity that you now going to the Christian church worshiping on this so-called Sunday, putting on your suit, right? Got your kids doing all of this madness, and you don't know what's going on. You're worshiping a false god, right? Read that again.
And they hide that thing because America is mystery Babylon.
That's right.
So they give you to worship a lot of things in mystery, and it's up for the children of the light to shed the light on it so it doesn't become a mystery anymore and it's placed false.
Con. Read that again.
1 Samuel 7:3. And Samuel spake unto all the house of Israel,
Right.
saying, if ye do return unto the Lord with all your hearts, then put away the strange gods and Ashtaroth.
And who?
And Ashtaroth.
Now, I'm about to share my screen and show you about this Ashtaroth. Because the brother just brought out in the book of Esther, chapter 2, about how it goes back to the word star. Right? This word Ashtaroth, can you flip that camera and show the screen?
What verse is that, Joel?
This is 1 Samuel chapter 7 and verse 3.
Okay.
Now, it says, right, this is Ashtaroth. This is in the blue letter dictionary, right? It says Ashtaroth or Ashtaroth equals a star, right? A false goddess in the Canaanite religion, usually related to fertility cult, right? This is the same thing.
So a lot of y'all times y'all say we're in a cult. You guys are in a cult.
That's right. That's right. So, hey, don't go to Sunday church tomorrow, man. Talking about Happy Easter, man. When you say Happy Easter, you worshiping a false goddess, right? From the ancient Canaanites, which are Hamitic nations, the people that drink blood and put all manner of bones in their nose and stuff. And it's from a fertility cult, right? Now, I'm gonna pull up another. So I gotta exit this out.
And real quick point.
Precept, real quick. Bring in the precept.
Psalms chapter 96, verse 5.
Right?
For all the gods of the nations are idols.
Are what?
Are idols.
The Lord said all of the gods of these other nations are idols, man. That's why the Lord was cutting them up like that. You gotta go through the history, right? Because there's nothing new under the sun. Right? Bring it out, King.
Now we went over the etymology that the word Eastar, Ashtaroth, all that. The Easter means star. But what is Christ? And they're going into Easter represents you worshiping the star. What star? The sun. Because the sun is a big star. But what did Christ say? Is in Revelation 22:16. I, Jesus, have sent mine angel to testify unto you these things in the churches. I am the root and the offspring of David, and the bright and morning star. So the star that you're supposed to be worshiping is Yahushua.
That's right. And that's blasphemy, and that's mocking the Most High God, right? By these nations setting up other guys, and then you following them. And now you're trying to figure out, well, are we under generational curses? And, why we can't level up in this society? And, Lord, change is going to come. And we came a long way. Hey, man, listen. You following the ways of these other nations, and you can't get it right, man. Right? It's because you following these false gods, these false deities, and they've put sugar in it, man. Now it tastes good to you. It smells good to you. It look good to you, right? Well, why can't I like wearing my Sunday suit and put my big old hat on. I like eggs. I like Easter eggs. Well, it's for the kids.
Right.
That's madness, man.
Yeah, and that's the demon trying to use your kids to promote you keep doing an activity.
That's right.
That's right. Hey, the Lord said, "I've hated your solemn feast." Right. Let me get that real quick in the book of what's that? Hosea chapter. I've hated
your
solemn feast days. Slakia. Gotta shake the dust off that precept. Hosea or Amos, Salaki. Yeah, we got to get that one.
Yeah,
I've hated your solemn feast. Oh, Khan. Nah, that's not it. Salaki. That's not it.
Psalms 95. Precept.
Khan, bring it out, King.
Book of Psalms, chapter 95, verse 3. For the Lord is a great God and a great King above all gods.
Khan, can you read that one more time?
Book of Psalms, chapter 95, verse 3. For the Lord is a great God,
right,
and a great King above all gods.
Khan, and a great King above all gods. That's right. Amos chapter 5, verse 21.
Yeah.
Amos chapter 5, verse 21.
Right.
I hate, I despise your feast days, and I will not smell in your solemn assembly.
So this whole time that you've been going to this Sunday worship on Easter, right? And you say, well, the Lord was with us today in that church, boy. Everybody was shouting, and we got down. The organist, they played good today. Hey, the Lord wasn't pleased with it, man.
Kind of 23.
Right? Bring it out.
Amos 5:23. Take thou away from me the noise of thy songs.
See that?
For I will not hear the melody of thy vows.
Right. So you thought you brought it out. Right. Well, the sister, man, she hit that note. Hey, the Lord wasn't pleased with it. Right. You've been deceived, man. Right. So it's best for you to come back to the truth. Right. So let's dig a little. Let's get a little more on that.
I got one.
Bring it out.
Psalms 135, and starting with verse 15. The idols of the heathen are silver and gold,
right?
And work of men's hands. They have mouths, but they speak not. Eyes have they, but they see not. They have ears, but they hear not. Neither is there any breath in their mouths.
Because Easter is nothing but it's for money. Right. On one level, you got the Christian pastor getting a lot of money on his Easter because the people say, well, I only go to church on Easter Sunday, right? And the church is jam packed on Easter Sunday. All of the other Sundays, ain't nobody in there. It's like 40, 50 people in there. But on Easter Sunday, guess what? Everybody go. You got Tyrone, you got Bebe there, right? And his 12 children, right? You got you want to show off your attire. You got that mother with the big hat that smokes cigarettes, right? She got to come, right? She want to argue with somebody at the church. Hey, guess what, man? The Lord is not dealing with that, man, right? So it's all for money. And then on another level, you got the man of sin that's in rulership. He's getting rich off of you, man. You buying your Sunday best. You buying all this chocolate, buying all these eggs, right? Madness, man.
Money is the root of all evil.
That's
the
right.
love of money is the root of all evil.
That's right.
So if you stop keeping these Easter holidays, you're taking away a portion of the devil's money, right? And that's one of the reasons he's gonna come upon Israel having great wrath, because he ain't got no money to rule no more, so to speak. If we all repent, but the Lord's time, right?
That's First Timothy
6.
Real quick, you got precept?
Yeah.
Bring it up.
Remember, going back to the etymology that East-star means star. It's in the word. It means star. So Wisdom of Solomon 13:1. Surely vain are all men by nature, who are ignorant of God, and could not out of the good things that are seen know him that is. Neither by considering the works did they acknowledge the workmaster, but deemed either fire or wind or the swift air or the circle of the stars or the violent water or the lights of heaven to be the gods which govern the world. So, it's self-explanatory. If you're ignorant of God, you don't know this knowledge we're giving you, you're going to deem all these other things to be the gods that govern the world, and you're not going to acknowledge the workmaster that made things, right?
That's right. Bring it out, King.
This is Micah chapter 3, verse 11. The heads thereof judge for reward,
right?
And the priests thereof teach for hire.
Teach for what?
Teach for hire.
Right.
And the prophets thereof divine for money.
That's right. Now get Job chapter 16. Job chapter 12 and verse 16. Right, real quick.
Yet will they lean upon the Lord and say, is not the Lord among us?
Right.
None evil can come upon us.
See that's madness. That's what they say. They say, listen, the Lord is with us. No evil is gonna come upon us, and we're doing what we're supposed to do. But guess what the Lord said? Job chapter 12 and verse 16.
Job chapter 12 and verse 16. With him is strength and wisdom. The deceived and the deceiver are his.
So the Lord said, listen, you have people that are deceivers and you have people that have been deceived, but that was of the Lord, because the Lord don't want everybody to get it. So everybody that's celebrating Good Friday and Easter and all of that, the Lord has deceived you by a man, and that was the Lord's doing. So everybody had this false ideology of God and that he's just this sweet old man and don't do nothing. Hey man, the Lord creates good and evil. The Lord is balanced, right? And you got to understand that, right? It's another precept I want in the book of Isaiah. You got a precept?
No.
Let's go to Isaiah chapter 9. real quick and go to verse 16. All right, Isaiah chapter 9 and verse 16.
Book of
Right.
Isaiah,
So let me back off what the brother just brought out.
chapter 9, verse 16. For the leaders of this people cause them to err, and they that are led of them are destroyed.
Or what?
Are destroyed.
So our people are destroyed, man, by the leaders, by them not going and breaking down what Easter really means, right? That you're not supposed to be doing it. It's the Feast of Unleavened Bread. It's the Passover, right? So, real quick, you got to kind of bring out another precept.
Okay, this happened to be Book of Jeremiah, chapter 23, verse 1. Woe be unto the pastors that destroy and scatter the sheep of my pasture, saith the Lord.
God.
Therefore, thus saith the Lord, God of Israel, against the pastors that fed my people.
Right?
Ye have scattered my flock and driven them away, and have not visited them. Behold, I will visit, behold, I will visit upon you the evil of your doings, says the Lord.
Saith the Lord, right? So these things came about because the Lord allowed it to happen.
That's right.
And you have false gods set up. Why? So that the elect find the most. It's all about the elect, right? They were sent out, you understand, to be deceived by men, but during the time that the Most High wanted them to find out about the truth, guess what? They're going to find out about the truth.
That's
because
right.
they was with the Most High from the foundation of the world. So these false gods and these false ideologies was strategically done and put out here for a reason. All right, real quick, get Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14
Wisdom of Solomon chapter
and verse
14.
16.
Wisdom of Solomon chapter 14, verse 16. Thus, in process of time, an ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law,
Right?
and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings.
By the what?
By the commandments of kings.
Like we have commandments of our kings, which was given by the Most High. But that's on the right-hand side. And on the left-hand side, you have the commandments of their kings, right? So you don't want to fall into the left-hand side. So this is all ordained by the Most High, right? Because the Lord is balanced, right? Can you read that one more time?
The book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 14, verse 16. Thus, in process of time and ungodly custom.
This is how all of the false religions and false gods came about. During the process of time, you got different nations of people that has risen up to the top nation on the earth. Like you had the Egyptians, man. You got their gods, right? Which is one of the gods we're reading about, one of the Canaanite ancient gods, worshiping the stars and the heaven stars and all of this madness, right? After that, you got the Persians and the Medes, right? You got the Babylonians, right? You got the Greeks and you got the Romans. You got all of these other nations, and they have their gods. That's why the Lord said in Deuteronomy 28:64 that you will be scattered amongst the heathen, and there you worship their gods.
Right. That you have not known.
That you nor your fathers have known, man.
That's right.
Right? Check that out in Deuteronomy 28:64. Right? Read on.
An ungodly custom grown strong was kept as a law, and graven images were worshipped by the commandments of kings,
Right?
whom men could not honor in presence, because they dwelt far off. They took the counterfeit of his visage from far, and made an express image of a king,
Right?
whom they honored, to the end that by this their forwardness they might flatter him that was absent, as if he were present.
See that? So that's the same thing they're doing with Easter, man.
Right.
A false god, a false ideology,
Ungodly
custom, man. Right? Very ungodly. Nothing to do with the Most High God, nothing to do with the spirit of truth. and nothing to do with our Savior that's about to make his return.
Also, to put on the tip, just go to your pastor and say, "Show me Easter in the Bible," right? And they probably may go to Acts 12 or 4.
Yeah.
But they're gonna and keep them on that path. You're gonna see the anger demon come out, trying to divert you from the singular answer you asked for.
That's right.
Real quick, this is Matthew 15:3. But he answered and said unto them, "Why do ye also transgress the commandment of God by your tradition?" This is traditions of men, meaning it wasn't from the beginning. Us nor our fathers known them.
That's right. By the traditions of men.
That's the spirit.
That's the spirit, right? Con, bring that out.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 29, reading verse 13. Wherefore the Lord said, for as much as this people draw near me with their mouth,
right,
and with their lips do honor me, but they have removed their heart far from me.
Right, your heart is your mind, right? You removed your thoughts and your works and your deeds far from what the Lord prescribed from you, right? Read.
And their fear towards me is taught by the precept of men.
See that? Now you've been taught, by just some mortal man, that's taking your money, raping you, robbing you, murdering you, don't really love you, not going to tell you the truth. He's not going to tell you how to get your people out of captivity. He's not going to tell you the solution for your men that's gang banging among each other, right? Shooting all each other up in the face, all in the mall, all on P Street, Elm Street, right? The block, right? And that's madness, man. Right? Get the book of 1 Timothy, chapter 4 and verse 7.
And I got a precept. This is Mark 7:3. For the Pharisees and all the Jews, except they wash their hands off, eat not, holding the tradition of the elders. And that's what we do, man. We like Grandma Betty, you know what I'm saying? Grandma so-and-so, right? You get pressured into doing it. You don't want to do it. You don't want to do it. That's right. You may. And you try to get out of that Christian church, they put the wooden spoon to you, look at you some type of way. That's what you got to go through.
That's right.
Yes.
So like you get Mark chapter 8 and verse 31, because the elders, right, are the people that have these traditions and that pass them on to the youth. And the elders are the same people that rejected the Lord, right? That's why the Lord said this is the last generation. That's why the Lord said this is that peculiar and chosen generation. You elders, the Lord not dealing with y'all, man, right? You didn't want to come to the truth. You didn't want to tell us that we were the Israelites. You didn't want to tell us that, you're not supposed to be playing football all day, right? You're supposed to be teaching the word of the Lord, telling the truth, that this society has lied to the people, raped, robbed, and murdered them, and put all manner of blasphemous things in the air, man, right? So read that, King.
The book of Mark, chapter 8 and verse 31. And he began to teach them that the Son of Man must suffer many things and be rejected.
And be what?
And be rejected of the elders,
right? And
of the chief priests.
Read.
And scribes.
And the scribes. So the Lord was rejected of the elders. So when they go to John 1 and 1 and say, well, his people rejected the Lord. No, it was the elders. It was the people that had stature. It was the people that had to say so, right? The youth, you understand, they followed the Lord. They believed in the Lord, man, right? So it was the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes, right? And guess what? They gave the Lord up to be crucified and to be killed, right? By a nation of people that hated them, right? So let's go back to Acts, right? 17 and 4. Or 17 and 3, rather. I mean, Salakia 12 and 3.
The book of Acts chapter 12 verse 3.
Right.
And because he saw it pleased the Jews, he proceeded further to take Peter also. Then were the days of unleavened bread.
So this is the point. It was the days of unleavened bread. It was the Passover. The Lord kept the Passover, man. Real quick, let's go to Luke chapter 22. Luke chapter 22 and verse 1. That's the spirit.
This is Luke chapter 22 and verse 1.
From the top.
Now the feast of unleavened bread drew nigh, which is called the Passover.
Right? Which is what they translated in the book of Acts as Easter. right? So you got to go to the etymology of the word so that you can know where it comes from, right? Is that it on that?
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so get Matthew 26 and 18. Okay, bring it out.
Verse 7 in the same chapter, Luke 22 and 7. Then came the day of unleavened bread,
Right?
when the Passover must be killed.
See that? So that's what the Lord kept, man, which was the Passover, right?
Matthew 22,
Matthew 26 and 18.
26, 18. Matthew 26 and 18. And he said, go into the city to such a man and say unto him, the master says, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover.
I what?
I will keep the Passover
Right?
at thy house with my disciples.
Didn't the Lord say, follow me? Didn't the Lord say, be ye followers of me? So why are you celebrating a holiday that the Lord didn't keep? Right? There's no such thing as Good Friday, Passion Week. Right? When did the Lord say keep Passion Week? Right? Where's the commandment to keep Passion Week at? Y'all, these people on Facebook talking about, well, it's Passion Week, right? Day one of Passion Week, right? Yeah, man, that's madness, man.
Yeah.
Right? You got it, King.
Now you want to show them, like, go to the Easter etymology and show them.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying? Just so they can
let's
get
bring it out. The Acts chapter 12.
Mm-hmm.
Let's show them. All right, so I'm about to share my screen again. All right. If you can hold this for me real quick, Baba Kashar, and flip it when I get to it, though.
I hope that in Matthew 18 and 16. See it?
I passed it. No.
Here we go. Right. Now, it goes down.
Oh, I don't think I'm sharing my screen. So okay, here we go.
All right, let's go back. Now, you see, can you highlight this part real quick? This says the King James Version translates strong G30. G stands for Greek. G39 57, if I'm not mistaken. I'm
Might
seeing
gotta
it.
speak
Right?
up a little bit.
It says in the following manner. Passover it's translated as this Hebrew word. This Greek word that we looked up. It's translated as Passover 28 times, and it's only translated as Easter once.
One time.
And the scripture says, out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses shall the matter be established.
That's right.
And this has more witnesses than this one.
That's right.
So all of these are the Passover.
That's right.
Matthew
right.
18, and this is solidified, Matthew 18 and 16, but yeah.
Okay.
And then when you read it, it's telling you that this is the Passover of the lamb, the lamb that the Israelites were accustomed to slay and eat on the 14th day of the month, right? This is the laws and the commandments that the Lord kept. He kept the Passover, right? When you're reading about Judas and Iscariot and all of the disciples, guess what they were doing? When they call it the Last Supper, they were keeping the Passover.
God.
Right?
So that's what it is. But now when you think of Easter, you think of bunnies hopping and all types of madness. But the true meaning of what it was of that Easter in that verse in the Bible is Passover. It's just translated a different way.
That's right.
So you got Matthew 18 and 16?
Yeah, I got Matthew 18.
Yeah, just read that real quick.
The book of Matthew, chapter 18, verse 16.
All right.
But if he will not hear, then take
Matthew 18 and 16?
18 and 16. 18, 16.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I cut you off. That's my fault. Read the whole thing.
But if he will not hear thee,
Right.
then take with thee 1 or 2 more.
Right. God, and that applies now. If you don't hear us with this correction, take unto 2 or 3 witnesses that can justify. Yes, that's what it is. It's talking about the Passover. Keep going.
That in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses.
We had 28 witnesses letting us know that the word meant Passover. Keep going.
Every word may be established.
So it's established when you have multiple witnesses. So we have 28 witnesses telling you that the Hebrew word there, the Greek word is Pesach, but it's the Passover, denoting the Passover that you read about in the Old Testament. So what are you supposed to be doing now? Keeping that Old Testament law. Because Christ was keeping that Old Testament law in the New Testament, so to speak, is what you guys call it.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So that's tackling the Easter. Now let's go to the book of Matthew, right? Chapter 12. Right? Let me see. You want to get some more etymology on that?
Nah, I'm
Cool.
okay.
All right, so let's go to Matthew chapter 12 and verse 38. Right? Now they say that this is another thing that they say, right? They say, well, you're supposed to celebrate Easter. They say Good Friday, right? So they say that, all right, so from Good Friday, so you got Friday to Sunday. They say that, where the Lord was crucified on the third day, right? You got 3 days. So we're going to see, according to the scriptures, when the Lord was crucified, right, from that Friday to that third day, to say which day that the Lord was crucified on. They say it was Sunday, right, from that Friday to Sunday. So we're going to see if that adds up mathematically, right, or scripturally. Let's see, right? Matthew, let's go to Matthew 12 and verse 38.
Matthew chapter 12 and verse 38. Then certain of the scribes and of the Pharisees answered, saying, Master, we would see a sign from thee. But he answered and said unto them, an evil and adulterous generation seeketh.
Now that's this generation here. It's an evil and adulterous generation, right? You commit spiritual fornication, right? Spiritual adultery with the Most High because you're married to him.
Yeah.
But now you're married to all these other gods, right? That's why the Lord said, talking about this great whore, which is America, right? And you're married to this great whore. And the Lord said, don't give the daughters of Zion to a whore, man. Don't make them out to be a whore, right? So this is that adulterous generation, right? Read on.
Seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given to it,
right?
But the sign of Jonas the prophet.
So the only sign that you're going to receive is the sign of Jonah, right? That great prophet, right? And what is that? Read on.
For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth.
So the Lord said that the Son of Man is going to be in the heart of the earth for 3 days and 3 nights. That's 3 different sets of a cumulative of 24 hours, right? 24 plus 24 plus 24 is what? 72 hours, right? I wasn't the best at math, but guess what, right? Hey, all praise to the Most High, right?
Because evening and the morning of the first day.
That's right. Let's get that in Genesis real quick, right? Genesis chapter 1 and verse 5. All right, real quick.
Genesis chapter 1, verse 5. And God called the light day.
Right, the Most High called the light day, read.
And the darkness he called night.
Right.
And the evening and the morning were the first day.
Right, so the evening is when the sun goes down, right? The evening is when the sun goes down. So let's get Matthew chapter 26 and verse 17.
Right. Matthew chapter 26 and verse 17. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahushua, Jesus, saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover?
Right.
And he said, go into the city to such a man.
Read on.
And say unto him, the master says, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples.
So the Lord is setting the foundation. He said, listen, man, we got the Passover, right? It's taking place, right? Jump to verse 31.
Verse 31. Then saith Jesus, Yahushua, unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad.
Right.
But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee.
Right, read.
Peter answered and said unto him, though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended.
Right.
Jesus Yahushua said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this night,
read,
before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice.
So the point is the Lord said that it's starting this night, right? So this is So according to the world, they say, well, you got 3 days. So Friday. So it start at night. So when the evening comes, right? So you got Friday, you got that next day, which would be Saturday, and then you got Sunday. So that would be 2 days, right? That wouldn't be 3 days, right? So let's go to Matthew chapter 27.
You have the evening of that night that starts the beginning of the next day.
Right.
Then you have the evening of the next day, which starts the second day. Then you have the evening of the third day, which starts the third day.
Which would be a so-called Monday, according to how they break it down. Right? So let's go to Matthew 27:1.
Matthew 27:1. When the morning was come,
right,
all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Jesus, Yahushua, to put him to death.
So he wasn't dead yet. So the morning had came. So now it's that so-called Saturday, what they say. So the morning this came, it's the following day. Right? Read on.
And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate.
Right? They delivered him to the so-called white man. We just figured out who delivered him. It was the elders, the chief priests, and the scribes. It wasn't everybody. Right? It was the people that thought they had already knew something. Right? Read on.
The governor. Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself.
Right, jump to verse 49.
Verse 49. The rest said, let be. Let us see whether Elias will come to save him. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost.
So now the Lord was put to death. He gave up the ghost now. Right? Now, according to them, this is already in that second day, right? If it was that so-called Good Friday, it's already the second day, right? So let's go to the next chapter in the first verse, 28:1.
28 and verse 1. And at the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week.
Right? So now the Sabbath has ended, and it is now the first day of the week, which would be what? Sunday. Right? Read.
Came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
Right.
And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it.
Right. This is talking about the grave. Right. Read on.
His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow.
So the Lord had rose. Right now, what day was this?
Drawing towards the beginning of the first day of the week, right? Which would be Sunday.
That's right. It would be the first day of the week. But according to their calculation, when you start from so-called Friday, right, it would be the third day so-called. So their mathematics is off. Right? Go to Luke chapter 24. Let's read verse 1.
Luke. Start at verse 1.
Con. Luke chapter 24 and verse 1.
Oh, 24 and verse 1.
Con.
Sorry. Chapter 20. Book of Luke, chapter 24 and verse 1. And it reads, now upon the first day of the week, very early in the morning, they came unto the sepulchre,
Right?
bringing the spices which they had prepared, and certain others with them. And they found the stone rolled away from the sepulchre.
Which the angel rolled away.
That's right.
Around Matthew.
Con.
Just so they see the connection. Yeah.
And they enter in and found not the body of the Lord Jesus Christ.
Right? So the Lord had risen, right? Just like how they say, well, the Lord is risen. Yes, Yahushua raised from the dead, right? And like the brother said, the angel rolled that stone away, right? Now jump to verse 7.
Verse 7, saying, the Son of Man must be delivered into the hands of the sinful men and be crucified, and the third day rise again.
Right. So that third day, right? So if you take Friday, right, Saturday, Sunday, and we just read it was on that next day, from that so-called Friday. So that would mean that the Lord had risen on what? On that Monday.
Right.
So their mathematics is off, right? There's no such thing as Good Friday, right? It's not in the Bible, right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 12 and verse 40.
Matthew chapter 12 and verse 40, which devour widows' houses, and for a pretense make long prayers. These shall receive greater damnation. And Yahushua, Jesus, sat over against the treasury and beheld how the people cast money into the treasury. And many that were rich cast in much.
Right.
And there came a certain poor widow, and she threw in 2 mites, which make a farthing. And he called unto him his disciples and said unto them, Verily I say unto you, that this poor widow hath cast more in than all they which have cast into the treasury. For all they did cast in of their abundance, but she of her want did cast in all that she had.
Right.
Even all her living.
Read on. Con. So the point is, you got to get the proper understanding on these things that these people are presenting to you.
Yeah. Question.
Say it
I
again.
got a question.
Con.
All right. Now it's in 24. It's because I'm trying to be edified because this is the first time I'm putting the pieces like that too. I'm not really heavy in this. This says, so you said there's no Good Friday, and I'm not familiar with the doctrine, so I don't know. They said there's no Good Friday. What day did he die on?
So go back to Matthew chapter 27. Right, and go to verse 1.
Matthew 27 and 1. When the
Matter of fact, go to Matthew chapter 26.
Matthew 26.
Right, and go to verse 31.
And 31. Then saith Yahushua unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night.
Right.
For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad.
Right. I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep shall be scattered abroad. He said this night. Right. So when the night comes,
the next day.
It's the next day.
Right. Because the evening is the beginning of the next day.
Right. So they say that it was that Friday.
He died on the Sabbath.
Okay. So this day, he died. Okay. So today, in 31, what day is it? Friday, so to speak.
Right.
It's the Sabbath day in verse 31.
Go back to let's start from the top. Go back to
this is gonna be edifying, I know.
Jump to verse 17.
Verse 17. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Yahushua, saying unto him.
So it's the feast of unleavened bread.
Right.
It's the first day of the feast of unleavened bread. Okay. So keeping it in their context, they say that Friday, right? That's the day.
Right.
So it's the feast of unleavened bread. Now jump to verse 31.
Verse 31. Then saith Yahushua unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night.
This night, right? When the evening is come.
Right.
It's now the next day.
Okay, I got it. This night. All right, you going.
Right, read.
For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad.
Right.
But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee.
So he's going to be risen on the third day. Right? He's not dead yet.
Yeah.
Right? So go to chapter 27 verse 1.
Because of the prophet Jonas. He got 3 days in the ground.
That's right. 3 days of 24 hours. Right? So this is following their logic.
Right.
Right? They say, it's Good Friday. So you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Right. Okay.
Right? So go to chapter 27 verse 1.
27 and 1. When the morning was come, all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Yahushua to put him to death.
Right.
And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor.
So the morning just came and he's still alive.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's now the following day.
Yes.
Right, read on.
Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priest,
right,
and elders,
right. So he tried to, pay his way to kind of, they wasn't dealing with it, right. Read on.
Saying, I have sinned in that I have betrayed the innocent blood,
right.
And they said, what is that to us?
Right? You can jump to verse 49. Right? They said, what is that to us? We don't care about that.
And the Pharisees would have money.
That's right.
Yeah.
Jump to verse 49.
Verse 49. The rest said, let it be. Let us see whether Elias will come to save him. Yahushua, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost.
Right?
And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom.
So this is when the Lord died. That following day, right? He yielded up the ghost, right? Yahushua gave up the ghost. He's now not. Right? Read.
And the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose.
Right, now you could jump to verse 28 now, verse 1.
Chapter 28 and verse 1. And the end of the Sabbath.
Now it's the end of the Sabbath. So the Lord gave up the ghost on the Sabbath.
Right.
Now it's the end of the Sabbath.
It's Sunday.
Right?
Oh, I'm tripping?
Not Sunday.
Right. It's the end of the Sabbath.
Just end of the Sabbath.
Okay.
Because you remember, their logic is Good Friday is, or you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right? Those are the 3 days that he say, well, you know, he died on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Okay.
That's their logic. Right? So like you read chapter 28, verse 1.
28, verse 1. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week.
Now it's dawning toward the first day of the
But
week.
it's not
Still
there
Sabbath
yet.
day.
But it's as it begins.
Right.
Right.
Kind of read on.
Came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
Right.
And behold, there was a great earthquake. For the angel of the Lord descended from heaven and came and rolled back the stone from the door and sat upon it.
Right.
His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow.
Right.
And for fear of him, the keepers did shake and became as dead men.
Right.
And the angel answered, said unto the women, fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Yahushua, which was crucified. He is not here, for he is risen, as he said. Come, see the place where the Lord lay.
Right.
Guys, I just want, so that doctrine is cut because he didn't raise on Sunday.
Right. So their doctrine, that's the point.
Right.
Their doctrine of saying that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, that's off.
Ding.
Right? That's off. That's a major cut. You got a question?
Yeah, and this is another reason why they think Sunday is the first day. I mean, Sunday is the day of
The
resurrection.
Kind.
And this is Acts chapter 20, verse 6. And it says, and we sailed away from Philippi after the days of unleavened bread, and came into them to Troas in 5 days, where we abode 7 days. And upon the first day of the week, when the disciples came together to break bread, Paul preached unto them, ready to depart on the morrow, and continued his speech until midnight.
Kind. Right. You got something to add to that, Brother Raphael? Kind.
So why would that scripture make them think that that's when the day was?
Because they said it's the first day of the week. They broke unleavened bread for 7 days. So they compared that to Passover. Yeah.
Right. And they compare that to so-called Passion Week too. Right, which is off.
Right. A lot of Roman Catholicism.
That's what it is, right? Christianity is
wrong.
nothing
It's
but
Christian
Roman Catholicism all over again. Right? It's confusion. Let's go to 2 Timothy. Check 2 Timothy chapter 4. Let's go to verse 4. Right? 2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 4.
2 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 4.
Right?
And they shall turn away their ears from the truth, and shall be turned unto fables.
Unto what?
Unto fables.
So Easter is just a fable, right? Good Friday is just a fable, right? It's nothing but an old tale passed down by wicked elders that gave you a false deity and a false god, like we just went over. And if you just hopping on, you gotta rewind it. You gotta rewind the video so that you can get the history.
Yeah, right. So if we know, okay, so just to make sure I'm correct, he didn't die on Sunday. He died that Saturday, right?
Con.
Right. So counting 3 days back, that's Thursday.
Right.
So there's no Good Friday.
There's no Good Friday.
No.
There's no Good Friday. No such thing as a Good Friday. It's not in the Bible. Right? Now, this is what the Lord said about that. Right? Read that again.
And they shall turn away the ears from the truth and shall be turned unto fables.
Right?
But watch thou in all things.
The Lord said, watch thou in all things. So when somebody says that there's a Good Friday, we got to go through the precepts and say, okay, well, if somebody said, okay, was it from that Friday? You go through the precepts and add up and say, well, it couldn't have been a Friday. According to your logic, it would have to be on that Thursday. Right? So that's the point. The Lord said, watch thou unto prayer, because the people have turned their ears unto fables. Right? 1 Timothy chapter 4 and verse 7.
1 Timothy 4 and 7. But refuse profane and old wives' fables, and exercise thyself rather unto godliness.
This is why Paul is teaching this, because the same thing was going on in these churches. Wise fables, right? Old sayings passed down to them, trying to tell them to worship false gods and to have false high holy days or celebrations, right? So you got to come out of the world, man, and come back to the truth, man, right? You're supposed to celebrate the Passover, the Feast of Unleavened Bread. That's what it's about, man. The Lord kept the Passover, right? Did you finish that? Read it one more time. Sure.
1 Timothy 4 and 7. But refuse profane and old wives' fables, and exercise thyself rather unto godliness.
Rather unto godliness, meaning applying the law, statutes, and commandments in these last days, because you're going to need them, right? Your faith alone is not going to save you. You need faith plus works, right? So brothers got closing precepts.
Yeah, I got one right here. This is First Maccabees chapter 1, starting with verse 41. Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to his whole kingdom that all should be one people.
Right, King Antiochus, read.
And everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king. Yea, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
And profaned the Sabbath. And that's what they did to our people over in America, right? You put down what the Lord told you to do, and you follow the ways of the American society, right? But now it's your time, it's your grace period to come back to the Most High, do your studies, pray and fast, and to apply these laws, statutes, and commandments, because this is how you're going to be saved out of World War III, Armageddon, Jacob's trouble, right? The famines. All of these things are coming to the earth, right? Quicker than you ever could believe. Right, so come back to the Most High, start applying these commandments, right?
I got you, precepts.
Kind of bring it up.
We brought this one out earlier, but I'm gonna pull it out through the Spirit. It's Colossians 2 and 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit, after the tradition of men, after the rudiments of the world, and not after Christ. So we gotta change the traditions that we have been following, because they've been leading to destruction. Everything that we've been doing has been the complete opposite of what the Most High has ordained for us to do, which is why we're still struggling, at the bottom of society, depending on a nation that can't save us, as it says in Lamentation 4 and 17. We literally got to a point where we're begging for $1,400. Like, that's madness. Well, it was literally selling your ancestors for $1,400, man. Like, we have become so docile in the society, it's madness. That's why the Lord has to send out his servants, the prophets, his true teachers, his true pastors, to give the correct understanding thereof, so that you can have a chance to be saved through the blood of Hamashiach Yahushua.
Got to give common sense to the people.
Right.
This Bible is common. Man. You can find it anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And you got to give the consent. So this is common sense we're trying to give it.
And that was another precept.
Precept on line.
Con.
We did 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16.
Okay.
2 Timothy 3 and 16. All scripture is given by inspiration of the Most High and is profitable for doctrine, for reproof, for correction, for instruction in righteousness.
You know, because this goes back to what the brother was bringing out. Pretty much, you know, this the vain, you know what I mean, false doctrine that's out here, and that's profaning our people. And now, I even got my mother calling me, talking about some she want to bring the kids over to go Easter egg hunting, you know, and that gonna touch me in a way,
Right.
you know. So, like I said, our people, we really are destroyed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get back into this word and everything for correction,
Right.
reproof, and instruction.
Right.
That's what we need. We need instruction in righteousness. Go ahead, give me verse 17.
Verse 17, that the man of God
That's man and woman. Come on.
may be perfect.
May be perfect. And what's perfect? The laws of the Most High.
Right.
Coming out of this vain way.
Right.
No, go ahead, finish that.
Thoroughly furnished unto all good works.
All good works. So all good works are documented right in the scriptures.
God, it says thoroughly furnished in that verse. Remember, it said when Christ, when the demon goes out of a man and it comes back, he finds a house thoroughly furnished and clean and put together, and then go in and ruin it. So this goes into having a sound mind, a sound spirit for the reproofs that is given. Right? Just to land it back on that. That just made me think of that.
Con. That's your closing precept, brother Raphael. All right, you got a closing precept. You gotta get one.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
You gotta get it. Everybody gotta get a closing precept.
That okay. I can do that then. I thought you meant touching on the topic. Mm-hmm.
You got one, brother Doc?
I'm sorry, I went to sleep.
Quick on the sword.
On the sword. John 11, precepts.
Hey, precept.
One
precept. Bring it out.
Okay, John 11 and 49. And one of them named Caiaphas, being the high priest that same year, said unto them, Ye know nothing at all, nor consider that it is expedient for us that one man should die for the people, and that the whole nation perish not. And this spake he not of himself, but being high priest that year, he prophesied that Jesus should die for that nation.
Bring it out, King.
I got caught up in what you guys are talking about.
Hey, well, whatever closing precept.
Okay. Anyway, I'm just bringing out this. This is Amos chapter 3, verse 1. Chapter 3, verse 1. Hear this word that the Lord has spoken against you, O children of Israel, against the whole family which I have brought up from the land of Egypt, saying, You only have I known of all the families of the earth. Therefore, I will punish you for all your iniquities. It's not a precept based on what we're getting at.
Hey, any closing precept? This is the book of St. John, chapter 12, and verse 28. Father, glorify thy name. Then came there a voice from heaven, saying, I have both glorified it and will glorify it again. Right? So the Fisherman for Zion back again with another live stream, Sabbath service. Hey, come out of the Christian church. Don't celebrate Easter, right? Don't celebrate Good so-called Friday, right? Don't celebrate so-called Passion Week. It's not in the Bible. Keep the commandments and keep the faith, right? Hey, get built up in these last days. Hey, we are downtown Fayetteville Market Square at Lord willing 3:30, right? Hey, we out there bringing out the word. Come see us, right? Follow the YouTube channel Fisherman for Zion. Follow the Instagram channel Fisherman for Zion, right? Hey, learn your heritage in these last days and come back to the Most High, right? Come here, Shala.